Alrighty, what is good? It is May 2nd. Right now it's about 2:34. Session should be ending, or not should be. It will be ending here in about 30 minutes, but I wanted to hop on here and give my little recap going over that 11.27R, I believe, if I remember correctly, trade that I had posted on Twitter this morning. First off, I just want to say that was probably one of my best execution in terms of speed and overall just read on the market. I came into the day expecting lower prices, and I'll go over that and why. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and hop into it. So immediately, the first thing I did, the second I got on the charts in the morning, granted, it's kind of funny because I think I got on probably about 15 or so minutes before session, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that. Don't remember off the top of my head. But the first thing I did was I did a little top down, all right? I was like, okay, I'm going to use the 72-minute because just from using it the other day, and just in general, it provides a clear depiction on where price should go just based on structure, right? It could be a sweep, it could be a good zone or whatever, right? So the second I got on the 72 or got on the charts, I hopped on the 72-minute and wanted to depict a possible DOL, draw on liquidity, as a target to reference to and take trades in that specific direction, right? So on the 72-minute, you can see, let me draw this box. Let me pull this over a little bit. I don't want to mess it up because I have some key drawings on there. Okay, yeah, well, I'll just leave it right there. So on the 72-minute, what happens right here? Right at 7:24, that 7:30 open, which I believe we had, if I remember correctly. Let me get a Forex Factory. I think we had, gotta log in real quick. Pretty sure that I'm almost positive there was 7:30. Yeah, we had 7:30 news. We had unemployment claims at 7:30, right? And usually that's a manipulation-driven event, right? So when I saw us take this swing high on the 72-minute at 5 a.m. At 7:24, that was probably within news when that occurred. I was like, okay, this is the most recent low right here. So this should be a draw at a minimum, right? But if you zoom out, you can see we have stacked lows right down here. And ultimately, I wanted to see price possibly gravitate towards here. Now, that is a massive move. I'm not saying we could go take that during NFP tomorrow, but ultimately, that's what I wanted to see as a main terminus. But in terms of logical target, right, what I wanted to see was this low right here and this low right here at 399, right? That, to me, was a very easy way to frame where price should go. And granted, I would need to let structure form and tell me that we are indeed going for those lows, right? So that was a 72-minute. So that was kind of my top down right there, right? And now I really didn't, take that back. I did use the 12-minute here because we had this beautiful, and I want to say this. A lot of these, I hope you are noticing the common reoccurrences in all of these setups. It's usually a sweep of a high, right? So we can identify a weak low or a weak high, right? It's either that or it's playing out of a zone targeting the high, right? You need to frame off the higher time frame. It is, I would say, if you're wanting to specifically take these big R trades, you need it. Otherwise, you're just going to get chopped like a mother and not know with high likelihood where price is going to go, right? So we frame that off the 72-minute right here. But what we can see right here is a beautiful 12-minute CSS candle, right? We have this last up bar that takes out that high over there. Last green bar, immediate close on the next one. So this is going to be our CSS candle on the 12-minute. That's just candlestick structure, right? So with that being in mind, let's go ahead and hop down to the 1 minute, right? On the 1 minute, what do we see here that is even more beautiful, right? We see a beautiful flip, right? We come up, we break this high right here, then we break the low right here, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful flip, and that's one of the strongest signatures you can see to base a setup off of from the start. So with all of that in mind, coming into session and market open, you can see right here at 8:30, we had this strong wake up right here, right? Ideally, I wanted price to come up and take out this high at 17,608, right? I was sitting on the charts. I was like, okay, there is a possibility we could manipulate up there at market open. Now, the key thing here was I don't use SMT. I'll say that specifically. I don't find it beneficial for me in my trading, but ES did end up actually manipulating higher and taking that high over there where NQ made a lower high, right? So this whole morning or this whole move down, I kept missing the setups, not because of false execution, right? There was a really good one, which I'll go over real quick. But in general, it was just delivering way too fast. It was too fast. It wasn't giving me areas that I wanted to engage in. And ultimately, if it did, the stops were way too wide, and I did not want to do that. I don't like playing with wide stops. I like playing with tight stops. It just fits my risk profile better. So the first initial setup, and I'll go over this right here. Let me zoom right here, is this 1 minute sweep right here, right? We have this 1 minute sweep, right? Ultimately, like I said, I wanted to see at a minimum that low, right? But big time, this low at 399, right? I knew it was a logical target with how we've been moving in price, just in general with these moves we've been getting. They've been quite nice. Now, some people may say they're choppy, but honestly, I think especially maybe if you're playing off of higher time frames, trading off of that, but in general, the 1 minute's been super, super clean. And today was about as picture perfect as you could get, right? So at a minimum, I wanted that low right there. Now, what spooked me out of this, and usually I always listen to my gut. I usually have pretty good intuition on certain things, right? What I wanted to see here was not really this internal one swept, right? I wanted to see this external one swept inside of this imbalance, inside of this little fractal, because I know this area right here is going to be a lower time frame swing point, right? I bet if we can swing, yeah, right over here, lower time frame swing. I want to see manipulation up into that, maybe touching the 50% of that, ultimately just reaching within that area and taking out both of those highs, right? But what it didn't do was take that high. Now, that's what spooked me directly out of this, but there was still a beautiful, beautiful setup off of this. You can see we have this 10-second CSS right here, and you can see price closes below it right there at 845.40, right? So we would have been framing a entry off of there, and this actually would have been a wild, wild R. Realistically, I remember seeing this, and there was, let me go over on the 1 minute over here. There was this little imbalance, not imbalance, but this little swing point. That was literally the only thing that jumped out to me. I was like, okay, if price, there's a chance price could just freaking melt. And that's exactly what happened. It just moved with speed. I'll put a horizontal ray on this so y'all can see it real quick. So that would, if I was going to engage with the setup right here, right up here, that would have been the actual full target right there. So that would have been a 9R, right? So I ended up not taking that. Like I said, I just did not like it without taking that other external high and kind of manipulating up higher into that imbalance in that little low time frame swing point, right? So the actual setup I did take was right down here, right? We had this big imbalance right here. You can see we met the 50%, obviously, this white line right here. Now we had this little fractal here too. Wick, fractal, right? I wanted to see price manipulate up into that, not manipulate, but at least trade up into that, right? But as I stated a minute ago, we are getting shallow retracements, at least for this morning session. I was not expecting price to fully move into certain areas I wanted, as depicted from earlier, right? We're getting shallow retracements. We aren't coming back up into swing points, right? So being able to recognize that is huge. If we're getting deeper mitigations or shallow mitigations, right? You need to be able to recognize that, because that's going to either cause you to miss setups or make you take bad setups. Because on days we're getting deep mitigations, right, you're going to get false signals like crazy. You're going to start taking setups that are low in the areas of interest versus where if it's a shallow mitigation, you're going to miss the opportunities because you're expecting a deeper mitigation, right? And it's very, very important to do that. And I will say it's quite easy to frame if we're going to get deeper mitigations is basing off what is price is doing right now, and then looking to see if there's really any quote unquote consolidation or areas of interest for price to bounce off of to your full on point of interest where you want to see price go to, right? And in this case, there really was not anything until this and these lows all stacked right down here, right? And I always say stacked lows will always be a magnet for price, right? Price is attracted to those because there are several stops, a lot of orders pending there. You know the deal. Price is attracted to relative equal lows, right? So this specific setup right here, as I stated, shallow mitigations, I was not going to let it spook me out of a setup again, right? On the, I believe this is on the 5 second. Yeah, it was on the 5 second. I actually executed it. It was both clean on the 5 and on the 10, but just because mitigations were shallow today, I wanted to engage with price on the 5 second. Overall, it's just going to give a little bit more clear picture of structure and allow me to engage more at ease, right? So specifically for this setup right here, you can see we get a little accumulation phase right here, right? We manipulate up, we take this high. What do? We close back within the range. One of the most important aspects of all of these setups, right? It's all fractal. It's going to do it on the 72 minutes, it's going to do it on the daily, it's going to do it on the 12 minutes, it's going to do it on the 1 minute, it's going to do it on the 5 second, hell, even the 1 second, right? So with that in mind, immediately, I see this strong displacement back into the range. We close back under this candle. This is now our sequence of 2 candles right here. This is our CSS since that black bar put in that high, right? We're going to frame it off the low of the last green bar. Now, if we draw that out in price right here, right? Boom, you can see all these wicks right here, just no energy to move higher at all. I think on this whole trade. So the trade was for 73 points. I took 2 points of drawdown. Two. That's how you know you are in institutional sponsorship. When there is lethargic reasoning or lethargic move to go past where your entry is, right? So you can see right here, that would be entry right there. Now, the reason I did not target this low, right? That still would have been 5.2R and I would be completely fine with that, is gauging how price is delivering in the now, right? I recognize that price is delivering with speed, right? And ultimately, terminus would be down at this low and this low down here. So I knew price, if it started to push through this low, that's why you saw my annotation on that video. It was like, I don't want to see price stall out here. I want to see it move through this with speed. And that's exactly what happened. And that's just pure intuition and understanding what the market is doing now and being able to adapt to the conditions that are presented to you now, right? So that is why I did not trim at all here, because I knew ultimately where price was going. I did not want to see it stall out here. And if it did, I was likely wrong and I would have been fine with being stopped at break even, right? So ultimate target right down here was at, like I said, 9925, 39925 right here, right down there. And you can see this delivery is absolutely freaking beautiful. Like I said, one of the best setups I've taken in terms of speed and delivery. This trade literally lasted 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Actually, not even 3 minutes and 55 seconds for a 73 point move and 11.68 R. I had my stop a little bit above. So I think it was, yeah, right there. It wasn't 11.68, it was 11.27. But besides the point, right? These are the types of setup I want you to engage in, right? And I feel like everything I've laid out on the YouTube, especially these reviews, are very beneficial because like I'm literally telling you exactly what I look for. From that, it just comes down to screen time and intuition, because a lot of people would be scared to take this. But when you know where price is going with high likelihood, there is nothing to fear. It's all about getting in the position. That getting in the position is arguably one of the least important factors, right? You need to know where price is going and position yourself within that move towards that point and just let it ride and let it take you. There's always a saying, I don't remember it exactly, but if you're with the tide or something, it will carry you to shore. I don't know. It's cheesy as hell, but it's meaningful. Seriously. Like if you can be able to recognize where price is going with high likelihood, and that's going to be deemed off the higher time frame for these kind of plays. Now, if you're scalping one-to-ones, you don't need to really understand where price is going. You just need to be aligned with current structure and what's happening in the now. But ultimately, these big R trades, you need to align yourself with structure, right? With that being said, I really think that's everything I wanted to discuss today. There was that setup up there that I got spooked out on because we didn't take that external high, which I was completely fine with. Even though missing that, I was not mad at all, because I know 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, that's going to either manipulate, it's going to give a false move right here, and it's going to manipulate and take that high, then give the real move. And I don't want to be engaging in stuff like that. I want the most swift deliveries possible, right? I want to position myself within the market in the most optimal delivery time right here. So I think, like I was saying a minute ago, I think that's everything I wanted to discuss about this particular setup. I'm going to get this posted real quick. And as usual, if you have any questions, just comment down below, join the Discord, at me on Twitter, whatever. I'll be able to respond to it. Now give me some time, because obviously I'm in finals week. I've been studying for finals and wrapping up here soon. But like I said, feel free, ask me whatever. If you have any questions about these setups, I'll have the link for the free Discord down below. You can join up. There's a lot of really good, nice quality people in there that are willing to help too. And we'll just go from there. I appreciate all y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video.